Good evening and welcome to Kitchen Conversations. Welcome to this divine evening as we are marching through the election vibration. So let us open wide our heart right now as we get ready for an amazing evening. We get ready to receive and to give. Open wide my heart. 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 So in this moment, we're going to take this time to open wide our hearts, to open into this divine moment that's happening right here, right now. This opening is an opening not only for us, but is for the entire universe, that we are opening the alignment, the love, the joy. We are opening that which is the truth of who and what we are. So just put your hand on your heart and know that this energy that is vibrating through you right now is the same energy that is pulsating around the world. We are opening this space, opening our heart, opening our consciousness, opening ourselves at the top. Breathing into all that is. Open wide my heart. 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 Thank you, Linda. And as always, thank you for that beautiful flute. Oh, yumminess. So, Kitchen Conversations tonight, we have an amazing conversation that's going to take place about my inheritance. And as always, our theme song, that none of us can be free if one of us is held captive in any way. If inequality reigns anywhere, none of us can be free. Well, you better listen, my sisters and brothers, 'cause if you do, you will hear the voices that are calling across the years. And they're crying across the ocean, and they're crying across the land, and they will till we all understand that none of us are free. None of us are free. None of us are free. If one of us in chains, none of us are free. Oh, there are people in the darkness, and they just can't see the light. If you don't say that it's wrong, then that says it's right. We've got to give to each other, show one another that we care. Let's send this message out loud and clear that none of us are free. None of us are free. None of us are free. If one of us in chains, none of us are free. 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 If one of us is in chains, don't you know we can't be free? Yeah. Linda, that's awesome. So tonight, before I bring on our guest tonight, we have a wonderful video that I loved it when I saw it, that reminded me what labels can do and how these labels are still affecting us in this very moment right now. So get ready for this. I am not black, and you are not white.
I am not black. I mean, that's what the world calls me, but it's not me. I didn't come out of my mother's womb saying, "Hey everybody, I'm black." No, I was taught to be black, and you were taught to call me that, along with whatever you call yourself. It's just a label. See, from birth, the world force feeds us these labels, and eventually we all swallow them. We digest and accept the labels, never ever doubting them. But there's one problem. Labels are not you, and labels are not me. Labels are just labels. But who we truly are is not skin deep. See, when I drive my car, no one would ever confuse the car for me. Well, when I drive my body, why do you confuse me for my body? It's my body. Get it? Not me. Let me break it down. See, our bodies are just cars that we operate and drive around. The dealership we call society decided to label mine the black edition, yours the Irish or white edition. And with no money down, 0% APR, and no test drive, we were forced to own these cars for the rest of our lives. Forgive me, but I fail to see the logic or pride in defining myself or judging another by the cars we drive. Because who we truly are is found inside. Listen, I'm not here to tell you how science has concluded that genetically we're all mixed and race in the human species doesn't exist, or how every historian knows that race was invented in the 15th century to divide people from each other and it has worked perfectly. No, I'm not here to lecture. I just want to ask one question. Who would you be if the world never gave you a label? Never gave you a box to check? Would you be white, black, Mexican, Asian, Native American, Middle Eastern, Indian? No, we would be one. We would be together. No longer living in the era of calling human beings black people or white people. These labels that will forever blind us from seeing a person for who they are, but instead seeing them through the judgmental, prejudicial, artificial filters of who we think they are. And when you let an artificial label define yourself, then my friend, you have chosen smallness over greatness and minimized yourself, confined and divided yourself from others. And it is an undeniable fact that where there is division, there will be conflict, and conflict starts wars. Therefore, every war has started over labels. It's always us versus them. So the answer to war, racism, sexism, and every other ism is so simple that every politician has missed it. It's the labels. We must rip them off. Isn't it funny how no baby is born racist, yet every baby cries when they hear the cries of another, no matter the gender, culture, or color, proving that deep down we were meant to connect and care for each other. That is our mission, and that is not my opinion. That is the truth in a world that has sold us fiction. Please listen, labels only distort our vision, which is why half of those watching this will dismiss it or feel resistance and conflicted. But just remember, so did the caterpillar before it broke through its shell and became the magnificent butterfly. Well, these labels are our shells, and we must do the same thing so we can finally spread our wings. Human beings were not meant to be slapped with labels like groceries and supermarkets. DNA cannot be regulated by the FDA. We were meant to be free, and only until we remove them all and stop living and thinking so small will we be free to see ourselves and each other for who we truly are.
All right. Let's welcome in our guest, Rowena Easteen. How are you, Rowena?
Hey, I'm terrific. Thank you, Gino. And I think we practiced it, but my last name is Easteen.
Easteen. I remember the O was silent.
Now we're off on a good foot.
Yes, thank you for that, Easteen. I'm so happy that you're here. I had the pleasure of seeing a video that you did called My Inheritance. So my first question is, the topic that you picked about your inheritance, what made you want to share that?
Well, there are really two different threads to that. One of them is that the Quakers all across Southern California, all across California actually, are reading a book together called White Fragility. This is Robin DiAngelo's book. It's been quite famous. And so that started thinking along some of these lines. The second phase of that is I belong to a Toastmasters club. And one of the projects you're supposed to do is to talk about your heritage. And I decided I needed to take a serious look at how the racism of this country affected my family and me. And to be honest about it. And that's where it all came from.
That's really beautiful because you took a very honest look at your family, and in a little bit I want you to share some of that. In being so honest and recognizing that part of this system of racism, to acknowledge that you, your family, have been a participant, how did that make you feel?
I didn't want to look at it. I really didn't. And for the most part, in the white communities I've been in until very recently, the subject of racism never even came up. It was never talked about. Unless it was talked about in terms of some them over there, them in South Africa, or them in Mississippi, or them somewhere else. It was never directed this direction toward me at all. And this is why I was real nervous about doing the speech. And I was particularly nervous about how my family was going to react to it. But I decided I needed to take an honest look and report what I found.
Well, I know they asked you that in Toastmasters, but, you know, one could say, why now?
The why now is in part because of reading Robert DiAngelo's book. It's in part because of all of the recent uproar over the killings of black people in police custody. That has really been front and center in all the newspapers. It's been front and center in a lot of things. And I really couldn't ignore it anymore.
That's really very powerful. And so I want to know, what did your family think? Is everybody still talking to you?
Everybody is still talking to me, which I was happy about.
Yeah, I am as well.
A few of them actually, I put it up on my Facebook page, and a few of them actually said, I liked it. A few of them just clicked the like button and didn't talk about it anymore. So I have a hunch it's a topic that wasn't very popular in
Well, I won't keep teasing people because I thought it was really very intimate. You showed the inheritance, not only the inheritance through our racism, but through your family's journey, what the women have inherited. So would you share a little bit with people so that we can clue them in?
Sure. In my family, we tend to kill off the men early. That's just the truth of it. The women tend to be left fairly young as widows, mostly with kids. I myself was widowed relatively young. And for the most part, these women became school teachers. That was one of the few occupations open to women. They didn't get paid much, but at least it was open. And I have a long line of educated women. My great grandmother attended college. That's extremely rare to have that much educational emphasis in any family.
Yes.
And it was certainly in mine. So that's part of it. And the next part of it that I think you want me to talk about probably is the whole notion of geography. We are, with one minor exception, a northern family.
Okay.
If you start in New York and draw a line all the way across to Minnesota, all the way across that upper tier state, that's my family's migration route. And that also has an effect on where we have lived and how white those communities have been.
Absolutely. Well, let me just ask this. Have you, when you look at your family and friends, are there people of color in there?
Yes. There are. One tiny fraction of my family ended up in Farquhar County, Virginia for a couple of generations. And as a result of that, the young men of that family, born to a slave mother, were sent north about the time of the Civil War. And one of my great-grandfathers, I don't remember how many great, got drafted into the Union Army and said, I won't go because I'm going to shoot relatives of mine on the southern side of the border.
Oh.
And when I did the DNA swab test a couple of years ago, just out of curiosity, I came back as 20% East African.
Wow.
Which, blonde hair and blue eyes, who'd have thought?
Yeah, exactly.
On the other hand, the early pictures of my grandmother, my mom's mom, she's clearly a black lady.
Wow.
It's her father who passed for white in coming north.
Did you ever hear stories about your great grandmother? Did the family ever talk about that aspect, or was it just?
Oh, oh no! I one time flat out asked my mother why my grandma in the pictures looked like a black lady. And she drew herself up and she said, well, there were always rumors of black blood in our family. And it was clear that topic was never to be mentioned again. And it wasn't.
It's very interesting that even in one of the later generations, sometimes the lines cross, and you go back to your ancestors, and a child is born from what appears to be a white woman, but very much the child has a lot of black features and tones. This has caused much chaos in families and speculation. How many siblings do you have?
I have two older sisters. One died this spring in Texas, and the other one lives here in Southern California.
Oh, that's nice. You guys are close to one another. And so you have nieces, nephews?
Lots of them. And one of those nephews, in fact, two of them, down in Texas, have been involved in these foster to adopt programs.
Okay.
And have ended up adopting a wide range of racial background in their families. So when we get together with the crew in Texas, there's a much wider range than any place else, but that's through these adoptions.
That's beautiful. And did they have the opportunity to see or share in the video, to have any kind of conversation with you?
I haven't heard back.
So when you completed this, stating that, and I do want you to talk about, because you blatantly talk about the inheritance of a white woman. When you stepped into that, because I'm sure some of your friends were able to see it, that was really taking up some big space. Share with us what that was like, stepping into that and saying what you believe has been the inheritance of you as a white woman.
Your opening song about open your heart wide, that's really what had to happen. I was nervous about it. I was nervous about it from the point of view of my family, and I was nervous about it because of my Toastmasters club.
Oh.
I'm generally the only white face at my Toastmasters club meetings. And I was nervous about how they were going to take it too. And I know that you know Otis Andrews and Chris Barber.
Yes, I do.
And they're part of that club. And Chris is Samo, Otis is Black. And they were both very enthusiastic. And they're the ones that put me in touch with you. But it really took a lot of courage on my part to say, hey, I need to look at this honestly.
And so what do you feel is your inheritance as a white woman?
The main thing for my particular family, we have benefited most from the loss of Indian tribal lands. We have always assumed we were going to own a home, we were going to own a farm, something like that. There was always the assumption of land ownership. Well, where did that land come from? It came from the dispossession of all of those native peoples everywhere from New York through Minnesota.
Yes.
And frankly, the condo that I own, that I'm sitting in right now, it's on Kumeyaay territory.
Oh, wow.
And the Kumeyaay have never had a treaty. They have never ceded this land. And yet I own my condo in Kumeyaay land. And that's simply one of the pieces of this racist inheritance that's part of being an American.
I would agree. That's beautifully said. There's so many levels of this unfolding. And, you know, one of the things about racism in the system that we're rooted in is that wealth was passed down from generation to generation, but not in our culture. And things that we did create and that we did were taken from us, taken from the Indians, the land that was taken. And then today, in today's form, it's white privilege. What do you feel about white privilege?
It makes me very nervous because I see it all the time. I have a really good black friend, and when he and I are in the car together,
Yes.
he's always much more worried about what I'm doing when I'm driving. Because I'll do things like make a U-turn in the middle of the street. I'll, these things that I know I'm not going to get up for. And he'll cringe. and we now have a little thing worked out. If I just say, okay, Dr. O'Dell, I'm going to make a little And it's because of my white privilege that I know I can get away with that. And if he were in the car by himself, he wouldn't. That's just a real silly example, but that happens over and over and over and over again.
Well, let me ask you, until the real vocal movement in the mainstream of Black Lives Matter, this organization has been around for a very long time, but until it's really been hit in the mainstream, did you ever really think that there was this thing as white privilege, or that there was this systematic racism? Did you think that, oh, we're all on equal ground now?
A little of both. I was aware that there were privileges attached to being white, no question about it. It wasn't called white privilege. That term is, I think, medium recent.
Yes.
But it was clear that I was in the mainstream, that I was normal, that I was ordinary, and that there were people that weren't like me. But until I moved to San Diego 23 years ago, I never lived any place that wasn't at least 95% white.
Wow.
So
And
I wasn't around it.
so, anybody of color. So I guess if you went to any type of church or spiritual community, all predominantly white. That that's amazing. And what state were you coming out of to come here to San Diego?
I moved here from Washington State.
Okay, that's
I'd been there
beautiful.
for some years. My late husband and I moved there from Wisconsin.
That's beautiful land. I remember not Washington State is beautiful, but I'm getting ready to talk about Wisconsin. When I went to Wisconsin, I was there doing a gig, and I just remember looking out in the audience, and it was so white. Some of the servers were Indian, because we're at an Indian reservation, Indian casino, but the majority of the workers there as well. And everybody that was in a managerial space or position was white. And it was really interesting that going into a store that I found myself again, because I'm from the Midwest, where those moments were happen where I would be the only black person or only person of color. And it is an interesting feeling to be in that type of environment. So when you moved here to San Diego, and it's a very mixed, vibrant community, was it culture shock for you? Did you feel on edge?
I never felt on edge at all. There was a little bit of culture shock. And mostly, it was how much I loved to go to the grocery stores. Because I love the Chinese groceries and the Middle Eastern groceries and the Korean groceries and the Mexican groceries. So I managed to eat my way across the ethnic groups of San Diego.
That's wonderful. Were you familiar with Black Lives Matter at all?
Not really. My mother, years and years ago, when we were living in Sioux City, Iowa, which is where I grew up, had only one little cultural event at all. She had tickets for the Sioux City Symphony. And there came the day when I was about 10th grade that she came in just furious one day. And it turned out she had just turned back her symphony ticket. And she did it because Marian Anderson was coming to town. And they would not allow Marian Anderson to stay at the Martin Hotel where everybody else stayed. And Mother was incensed about that. And turned back her symphony tickets. And that was really my first awareness of anything remotely related to any kind of protest or pushback from a system.
Wow. There are so many things that are going on right now that it boggles the mind. I know you also talked about in your video that in all the schooling and on both sides of the teaching and the learning, that you were met with very, very few people of color there as well.
I didn't even realize it until a few months ago that in my life I have 2 master's degrees and a PhD. So I've been to school a lot. I'm a school junkie. And I have only ever once ever had a non-white teacher.
Wow.
He was a second generation Taiwanese, and he was teaching undergraduate philosophy. So I had him for 1 semester. And it never dawned on me there was anything strange about that. That there was anything wrong with that. didn't occur to me. Never thought to look at it until just a few months ago when I was reading the Robin DiAngelo book.
Do you find yourself from reading that book? Everybody has a different take on it. What is maybe your 3 takeaways from the book that either inspired you or pissed you off? Yeah, we got to get one pissed off one in there. Or made you maybe doubtful or fearful?
Doubt and fear just is not something I do.
Okay, good.
I just don't.
Okay, love
It's
it.
not my thing. But I think the thing that really struck home with me was the education piece in her book. It was very briefly mentioned. And the other part was she talks very briefly about religion. And I remember very clearly in Methodist Sunday school, you had the blonde-haired, blue-eyed Jesus, and all the little colored children around, and the little sign under it that says, Jesus loves the little children of the world.
Yes.
But it's the blonde-haired, blue-eyed Jesus. And that seemed normal.
And was there anything that really disturbed you or made you uncomfortable?
Toward the end of her book, she got a little preachy. But I tend to resist that.
You know, it's something, I was raised Catholic, and I remember having conversations. My mom was raised Baptist, but she decided that her kids, and the family, I went to Catholic school. So yes, God, Jesus, which I had many questions, because I thought the pictures were of Jesus, but blonde, blue-eyed. And I remember the very first Christmas that my brother, as an adult man, married with his kids, told my mother that he would not have a white Santa bringing his kids toys. And my mother was outraged. And I was like, oh, I hadn't really thought about it because I was raised with the white Santa Claus. Every now and then you might see a face of a black Santa, but it was so far and few in between that I looked at my brother, I was like, oh wow, my mother was just stuck on, it's Christmas time, that's what the babies know. And he's like, why would I tell my children that this is a white man that's bringing them gifts? And you know, that was a huge awakening for me as well. So when you talk about that, some of the things we don't see because what you've seen through commercials, advertisement, everything is white. And, you know, maybe 30, 40 years ago, starting to sprinkle in black faces, but a lot of that was black faces that appeared to be ignorant and uneducated. Did you feel as though, as you were, when this awakening started to take place, were you able to look back and think that maybe you too thought that because you didn't see them in school, that there wasn't education, that they weren't, we black people of color were not getting educated, could not get to the higher realms of education? That ever crossed your mind? Because I love that she does mention education in her book.
Basically, never dawned on me. Because it was not a part of this white bubble that I lived in most of my life. You talk about your white Santa Claus. Well, of course Santa Claus is white. All the characters in Sears Roebuck catalog are white. All the characters in the movies are white. All the characters on early TV, they're all white.
Yes.
Of course they are. And it never dawned on me that there was anything funny about that, because I was living in this white bubble.
Well, the system it was created in such a way that I think for us as well, because when my brother first said that, no, I'm not going to do that, and that he forbid my mother and I to participate from that arena as well, it took me back a minute, because I was like, but it's Santa. What you got against Santa? And so, you know, the brainwashing, because that's what my brother said, you've been brainwashed. You've been brainwashed. Now, he had started to do a lot of different study of history, which my mother loved, but understanding and taking ownership as a black man, that he was head of the household. And when we think about some of the characters and things that the white pictures that show up, they absolutely take over, they would take over the household. They would take over the position that a black father, because it's not a representation of him. It's a white man coming in to bring the blessings and the joy. You have said that you are a very educated woman. 2 masters you have? May I ask in what?
One of them is in German.
Oh.
And the other one is in business education.
How, well, that's awesome. Have you ever been to Germany?
Oh, yes.
Ah, that's an interesting space. I've been there. What do you think about Germany when you look at the racism as a whole there?
The main thing that I've noticed about that is that during the whole civil rights troubles in the U.S., the whole Martin Luther King era, that whole time, people in Germany, in fact through most of Europe, were saying, aha, you folks in America, you're just so terrible, you're so racist, you don't have it made, you're opposed to all these black folks. This is just terrible. And then all of a sudden they started getting immigrants, some of which weren't exactly white. And all of a sudden, things changed. And suddenly it was, oh, well, maybe there is something. These folks aren't as good as we are.
It is amazing how this ease of racism is all over the world in different areas, different ways. And the video that I showed, what I loved about that, there was a singer, I don't know if you know her, called Pearl Bailey. And Pearl Bailey was this beautiful, vivacious, very powerful black woman on stage and comedic. And I was studying to do her life story. I was writing a theatrical play on her. And I remember that the director and I were at a Starbucks, and we were talking about Pearl Bailey, and a gentleman across the way jumped up and came over and gave me 2 cents of his mind that he could not stand Pearl Bailey. She did not support her people. She did not march with her people. And he was really furious. And I had never seen that aspect of Pearl Bailey. But when I started to research her more, what I found out was that she believed that I am, and that's who I am, that's who you are. And in the video, what they're talking about is taking the label off of a skin tone that has created all these boxes that we're in. And so during the civil rights, she didn't march because she believed all people were created equal and should have that. So we find ourselves in 2020 still with the same issues. As you have become awake now, what do you think could be something that, say for yourself, that you can do that starts to open your heart up even more, that will allow you to infiltrate different cultures and be open to receive and know people? Or meet,
That's
I
a
should
tough
say.
one, Gina.
I know.
Particularly with the COVID, where you really can't get out and interact with people as much as you might otherwise.
Right.
But I'll tell you a little story. Right after George Floyd was killed, I decided I would do one little thing. I use mobility scooters.
Mm.
And I decided to make a sign for the back of my mobility scooters, Black Lives Matter, and paste an American flag to it.
Mm.
And I was surprised at how many positive comments I got about that. I was kind of nervous about that one too. I'm not always so gutsy. But I was a little nervous about driving up and down. I live in Coronado, which is a predominantly white community. There's no question about it.
Yes, it is. Beautiful community.
And I was driving up and down the sidewalks of Coronado, and how many people, both white and black, commented positively about that sign. It's still on the back of the scooter.
I love it. I love
It's
it.
starting to fall off a little bit, but I've got to get out there with some more tape and tape it back up. I do notice that yesterday that I have two scooters, and on one of them the American flag is falling off. I got to put another one up. But I thought it was important to put both Black Lives Matter and that American flag up, because it is an American issue.
Yes.
It's not a political issue in my view, at least. It is an issue that all of us need to be more honest about.
I really love and appreciate that. And, you know, I love that you made a choice to do something. And granted, COVID does keep us from doing maybe other things. But the fact that you were willing to step out to do something, that is standing for something. That's, I believe, helping to open up the heart space for everyone even more. That when people see that, hey, you're paying attention, you recognize that I am in pain, I need your love and support, that's a way of supporting. So I thank you for that. That's really awesome. So in your video, when you talk about your inheritance, do you know if your sister, have you had a conversation with her about the inheritance? Has she ever hinted that, yeah, some of that I agree with, or no, I have no idea what you're talking about?
The only piece we really talked about was, I mentioned in the video that my mother was in the midst of a nasty divorce, and her salary was zero, and she tried working as a school teacher, and it was not supporting us. And her divorce lawyer was buddies with the mayor, and that got her a GS3 civil service job at the Air Force.
Mm.
Now, GS3 today makes $12 to $15 an hour, so this is not big money. But to our family at the time, it's what kept us afloat for years. And that particular issue of how she got the job, I said something to my sister about that. And she said, I don't remember that, are you sure?
Mm.
I said, yeah, I remember talking to Mother about that. And then I tied a couple of other things in. Oh, yeah, I think that may be right. But the rest of it, no, I'm not that brave.
Well, with your friends, because it's always interesting. We have friends, we have family, and sometimes we think we all are thinking alike, but we're not. And it is very brave, the video that you made, and courageous. Has it inspired any of your friends to come forward and have the conversation about where they land?
A little bit, yeah. Particularly in my Quaker community, we've been having a lot of discussions, not just about the Robin DiAngelo book, but about other issues involving race and involving Native American concerns as well. Those conversations have been rich and varied and lots of different opinions and backgrounds, more than I would have imagined. So that has definitely happened. I'm kind of a black sheep of my family, if you don't mind my using that term.
No.
Because I'm not of the same religion as most of them, and I'm not of the same political persuasion as most of them. So mostly we just talk family stuff. We have learned not to do religion and politics.
Now, how did you become a Quaker?
I was raised Methodist.
Okay.
And when I was in college, I knew I wasn't that. I wasn't sure what it was, but I knew it wasn't Methodist. So I bounced around for a while, hung around with the Unitarians a little bit. That didn't quite seem right either. And when I went to grad school at University of Oregon in Eugene, I somehow ran into a pamphlet from some Quakers. And I thought, that kind of sounds like me. So I looked up the Quaker meeting. It was on Onyx Street. I knew where Onyx Street was. So I got myself over there. And I walked in and sat down. And within 2 minutes, it was this big sigh of relief. I found my home. And I didn't know anything much about it at that point. I just knew I was home. And that has been the case. That was, 35 years ago, something like that.
Well, the
I've been a Quaker ever since.
Yeah, the Quakers historically have, they were a big helping hand in some of the slave states in helping slaves hide slaves and helping them move from place to place on their land, recognizing then that the Quakers did not condone slavery.
You're not quite right about that. I'm sorry to tell you.
All right, okay.
I wish that was true, but it's not. Many Quakers in the North,
yes,
were very opposed to slavery. But there were many Southern Quakers who were slave owners and were not all that willing to hear anything about it. And it took about 100 years of infighting within the Quaker community before finally everybody said, yeah, this is right. And Southern Quakers either became Baptists or moved north.
Yeah.
And a few of them freed their slaves.
I didn't know that.
It was not a monolith by any means. We get a lot more credit for that than we deserve.
Yeah, there is, especially when you talk about the Freedom Railroad, there were Quaker farms that did help assist, and so I guess it does like we do. It did a blanket over all Quakers. So thank you for that. So you find yourself at this space right now where the world as you know it, I know it, flip, flop, upside down, twisty, turny. What do you see that can be our beacon of light for people that find themselves frustrated or maybe even afraid of equality for all. What do you see is a possibility for America?
I wish I had something easy to say there, but I don't. I think it's going to take many generations yet. I wish it didn't, but I think it will. Because it takes a long time to change the human heart. That's not to say it can't happen. It can. But it's not an easy process. And most people don't want to look at their own involvement in racism.
Yes.
Most people that I know would say, oh, I'm not racist. And they probably aren't. But they're a participant in this racist system. And it's very hard to know how to get out of that and what to do about it.
I think that's really well said that, you know, one of the things in a spiritual community, people think because you go to church or you practice something that that's not a part of you, but it's a part of everybody, and to all different various degrees. And so coming into this space where we can start to really be accountable, or at least start to recognize, for you, I love that you started to recognize not only you, but your family, this inheritance of white privilege, this inheritance of if there's a choice, you're always going to get that. You're going to get you're going to be the chosen one. So, you know, with that responsibility, because that's a responsibility as well, to know now that I'm the chosen one. How do you look at other nationalities now? Do you see how you have been that light of reflection of the chosen one? And maybe how do you shift it within you?
I don't know. That's a simple answer. I don't know. It seems to me that living here in San Diego, we're really very lucky.
Yeah.
Because it is actually majority minority. And I go back to the grocery stores, it's so much fun to go to the grocery store and try all these peculiar foods, these things that I didn't grow up with, that I now take for granted. I not only know what a dosa is, I have a favorite place to go get dosa. And that's one of those things that I think living here, we have a real opportunity to have friends and neighbors and co-workers and people at the church that aren't all white.
Yes.
And that's a real privilege. And it's something that I have really come to appreciate.
That's really, really, really powerful. Now that you've completed the video, have you looked at it again?
Yes, I've looked at it a couple of times. And
what
I can see how nervous I was giving it. And what a poor job I did on the presentation.
I
But
beg
there
to
is
differ
sort of
with you
good
there.
news.
I thought it was a really cool presentation, and I thought it was it took a lot of nerve. So now that you look at it, what would you tell yourself? What are you saying to you now?
Well, I'll tell you what's next. That was a part of a competition season in the Toastmasters world.
Okay.
And I won what's called the area competition.
Oh.
And so on March the 20th, I will be giving that speech again
Ah,
to a larger audience. And I'm really looking forward to that. Because I think that I actually have something to say.
yes.
And I think that it's important for me to be honest about my inheritance of racism and my benefits from that racial system that we're living in. And that's something that I can do. There's not a whole lot I can do. I no longer am in the business of hiring people. I no longer am in the business of teaching people. I'm not doing any of those things anymore
Right.
because I'm happily retired. But there are one or two, and I figure anytime there's one or two little things that I can do, that I need to do them.
I think that's really powerful. And the fact that you are willing to do what those one or two things are, it doesn't mean that everybody's got to do a big thing, but if everybody does something to move us forward, then I think the journey becomes much shorter to get to what I'm calling the new world. This new way of living that none of us really know about. Living in a space where equality is for all. You know, we all talk about that's something that we want, but we have not seen that yet anywhere in the world, really. So we are creating that. If there were one thing you'd like to say, well, before that, let me ask you, are you familiar with Black Lives Matter? Did you know about the organization at all?
I don't know much about the organization at all. I know there is one, that's about all I know.
Okay, all right. Well, I mean, knowledge is power. And so being informed is also a beautiful awareness that starts to open us up, that starts to shift us. If there's one thing that you could say to the world, what would that be?
Love one another.
I think that, you know, we talk about that love, and everybody wants love, wants to be loved. Sometimes as simple as it sounds, we don't live it that simply. We make it much tougher. I'm just going to ask you a little bit on the, with some of the things that are in the forefront, like the police brutality. What do you think are some of the things that could be done to shift that? Or if you think there is police brutality?
Oh, I know there is. There's no question about that. I think the only difference is now we've got the video cams. And so we're able to see it.
Yeah.
And it's more in your face than it was before.
Yes.
And I think that's actually helpful. Because it does bring out these incidents that happen and used to happen with nobody knowing about it. So that's one of the things that I think is a really hopeful sign. I think there's also quite a movement now looking at what police really ought to be doing and responding to mental health calls as it is.
Ah. Yeah.
And more places are going to systems like Eugene, Oregon has, where mental health calls are not handled by police at all. Mm-hmm. They're handled by professional social workers who once in a great while have to call for police backup, but not very often. And I think those kinds of things are very helpful. But it's nothing that I've invented, it's nothing that is unique to me at all. But I'm glad to be seeing those changes happening. And I'm glad to see the changes, for instance, in having more civilian oversight of police reviews. All of that, I think it's helpful. I don't think it's a magic solution.
Right. Well, I love that. You know, you find in some of the other communities, I love Oregon. It's, if it didn't rain so much.
That's why I left.
And it is beautiful, but boy, if it didn't rain so much. But a lot of the things that they have there to help support the community, Oregon, Ashland, are places that I feel a lot really want to support the community, and that's everybody that lives there in the community. You know, in the book, White Fragility, did you take it with a class or did you do this on your own?
There were a group of us that was reading it a chapter at a time, more or less together, and then talking about it. And I participated in some of the sessions, but not all of them. It was one of those things that in some ways was not exactly what I needed, and in some ways it was too close to home.
Well, that leads me to, did you find that before you moved to the space to make the video, that you were being triggered, that things were triggering you? Did you find that through the book study and then also in creating this video that you shared with the world, or part of the world?
I don't think it was triggering so much as just sort of a gradual awareness that I was living in a white bubble. Because for so much of my life, I didn't even know it was there.
Yeah, yeah.
It never occurred to me that there was anything strange about it. That, for instance, I lived in Sioux City, Iowa, but it never dawned on me there were any Sioux Indians anywhere around. You know, this kind of thing that just doesn't seem to register. And I've finally been seeing the bubble that I've been living in. But I don't think there was a particular triggering event.
Well, I want to thank you for seeing the bubble that you were living in, and for sharing this bubble with people, speaking out loud about your inheritance, about recognizing how you have had privilege and that it is real. You know, one of the things that used to drive me crazy was that some of my friends would say, oh, you know, you're being too sensitive. It's not really, that's not really happening. So the fact that you recognize that this is a real presence that's been in your life, that's really, to me, that's a big step for us all to start taking. This is not about blame or shame. This is just about how can we move to the next level. So recognizing that, yeah, there's a bubble. Like you say, your friend knows that if he makes that U-turn, he's going to get a ticket if he gets caught. You may just get a warning. I want to thank you for coming on with me and sharing your beautiful story. I'll ask you this. Is there anything that you would like to say to the world in recognizing your bubble and recognizing your family inheritance and recognizing where you are right now?
I just feel very blessed that I have managed to live long enough to finally be able to see some of these things. And I feel very blessed to be living in San Diego, because I think that has helped me to see some of this. And it seems to me that for my life at least, it was important for me to be honest. That's what I've tried to do. And looking at this racist inheritance that we have as Americans.
Okay. Did you freeze on me? Wait.
No, I was gone.
You were so still when you hit that last. I thought you had frozen.
Hey, Quakers know how to sit.
I see. Rowena, I want to thank you so much for coming on. It's been a joy spending this time with you, hearing you share your wisdom and your journey. I love that your scooter has the power of saying, hey, we are all one. This is our country. We are all in this together. So I appreciate all that you're doing. And I look forward to hearing about your divine speech in March when you share that with a larger community. I know it will uplift and enlighten many.
Well, this has been a real pleasure, Gina, and I appreciate that you asked me to come on today. This has been fun. I was a little nervous about this one, but it's gone very well. You didn't ask me anything too embarrassing.
No.
It's really been a pleasure to get to know you a little bit, Gina.
Same here. We're gonna, because of the election, just because of a lot of triggers, we're going to have a little guided meditation that we're going to go through after this, Rowena. So if you feel like it, please stick around. But if not, I will see you on the flip side. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you, Gina.
So, right now, I want to just take this opportunity for us to reflect on wherever we are. There are a lot of things that are going on, and there are a lot of emotions that are running high. So I just want to have an opportunity to breathe into this moment. So wherever you are, just let everything go. Let your body relax. And take a deep breath with me. For whatever thoughts and fears or doubts may be coming up surrounding the election, life, your future, in this moment right now, we're going to just rest in this present now-ness. And take another deep breath. And allow the aura of infinite intelligence to surround you. This global light that is the light of humanity. Know that there is no one person, place, or thing that can diminish this divine light, for this is your birthright. This is your inheritance. So right now, we breathe and release. We find ourselves in the middle of the moon. For this divine moon is shining so brightly. And with every ray of light, We feel the love. We feel the peace. We feel the presence. We just breathe into that. So as we are breathing, we recognize that this light is not coming to us. It's coming from us, connecting with the light of the moon. This light is in every cell and atom of our bodies. This light is dancing in our consciousness and illuminating through every fiber of our being. And we feel this light. This light feels like home. This light feels safe and warm. This light feels like love. And we breathe deeper into this light. And we can feel the light in our room, wherever we're sitting. We can feel this light has illuminated this room. Oh, and it just feels so good to know that everything always works out for us. There's such peace in this light and well-being. And the entire space is filled with so much beautiful light that is beaming from our essence right now. There's no separation. There's only this divine light that is loving, that is holding and cradling us. Feel this energy vibrating in and through. Oh, how great it is. So we take the breath. And with this breath, we release everything. And we suspend in this moment of now, floating in this joyous abyss of love and light. And we'll just stay here for a few more moments, just feeling the allness of love and light all through us. from the top of our head to the bottom of our feet, in every corner of this room, every window, everywhere there is light. We can hear the light and feel it, and we surrender to this light right now. So we take the breath in. Knowing that I am, is here. And we remember to remember that no matter what the external world may show us, we are the light and love of spirit. And we are held in this loving space. Every day, in every way. Our well-being abounds. And when you're ready, recognizing all of the light is centered back into the body, that this divine vessel of light is flowing through you. And it's always there with you. We acknowledge this divine space and give thanks and praise. And we give thanks knowing that it is so. And so it is.
I receive, I accept, I believe that I have all I need. I allow, I receive, I accept, I believe that I have all I believe that I have all I need now. Oh, I allow, I receive, I accept, and I believe that I have all I need. I allow, I receive, I accept, and I believe that I have all I need now. I want to thank you, Universal Spirit Center, for all of your love and support, that you continue, that you show up not only for classes, for Zoom, you show up on Sunday, you show up on Wednesday, you view before and after. We have new videos that will be coming out on YouTube. If you've subscribed and not hit the bell, when you hit the bell, it lets you know when we post a new video. So know that those are things that we are doing. I think the Rev still has space in his class for his chakra, clearing the chakras, which will be really awesome. Also, I believe Lee also has still some space in his class of Living the Science of Mind. There are things going on. There's absolutely the divine that is taking place. So I just want you to know that we appreciate all that you do. We give thanks and praise for each and every one of you. Thank you for being with us tonight. Rowena, thank you for sharing and being so open and candid. I look forward to seeing you guys next week on Awakening Wednesday. Oh, I allow, I receive, I accept, I believe that I